it's our 50th, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really exciting.
I know. And you've been here, well, you're a bit older, so you've been here a lot longer than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, go on, tell me, how did you start? Because it was
I think, I've been trying to work out how long ago it was. I think it was about 1995.
So you've been here half
its life.
Half its life.
I saw an advert in the local Petersfield Post, in the local paper, and they were advertising for Butser babes,
Oh, no.
which was a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
And I was looking to do something different. And
Did they honestly put out Butser babes?
Yes, yes. So I answered the advert and I thought, yeah, that sounds interesting. I'd quite like that. And I think there were about, 7 or 8 of us who applied and all came for interviews.
Yeah.
And I was shown round by Eugene, and I met Dave Kirby, who was the farm manager at the time.
The site was came to this area, Buscombe Copse, 91, 92.
Yes, yes, early 90s.
It would have only just been literally a roundhouse or two.
There was this roundhouse. I think there were the 2 Glastonburys were here. It was all really different to anything. I'd only ever worked in schools and at a preschool before, so I'd not experienced anything like this. I'd not even visited. I'd never been here before. I think most of us who came for interview were offered the job, but I never met any of the others again. So I never saw any of the others. So whether they refused the job or whether they decided that actually it wasn't really for them, I don't know. But I was the only one that really ended up here. And then I worked with the schools, and there weren't many schools at that time.
How many do you reckon?
1 or 2 a week.
Was that enough to kind of just...
No, I think it was really, really touch and go.
Hand to mouth type.
Really hand to mouth.
Yeah.
I know that when the site moved to this particular place at Buscombe Copse, there were no toilets. So when they had anybody here, like a school group, if they needed to go to the toilet, and they would have done, they needed to put them back on the coach and drive them down to Nexus House, to the
little chef.
Yeah, so that they could go to the toilet and then bring them back again, because there was no toilet here. So Alan and Marilyn Tatlow helped to, they loaned the money for the toilet
And they were
block,
friends of the farm.
And they were friends of the farm, so that, and they worked with the school group, so they could see that actually this wasn't really
it's not possible, is it? Yeah.
And they enabled there to be some kind of toilets here, which made an enormous difference.
Yeah.
But it was lovely, and it was, and we always ended up the day with a story in the roundhouse, and Eugene used to do that while we were clearing up outside, and I did end up working with Peter, which was nice. So it was interesting. There were always, and do you know, that hasn't changed. There are always interesting people here, and that was exactly the same back then. You never know who you were going to meet, you never know who was going to turn up, and it could be someone from a university, it could be someone who just saw it in a newspaper, it could be someone who'd just been passing, it could be someone who'd found a bit of something rather on a walk and wanted to come and have it identified. There were always different
that certainly
people.
Hasn't changed,
it hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't
and you know,
changed
that's really nice.
Yeah.
So that was my the way I started my experience here at the farm. What about you? Because you came a bit later on.
A little bit later on. I think it was actually 2001, and I knew a guy called Jonathan West. I used to work for him doing forestry, because that was my background. You know, I used to do countryside management, forestry, work on farms. So I had a kind of a broad range of skills in terms of sort of outdoor work. And I was just one day just chatting with Jonathan West and saying, you know, looking for a bit of work, is there anything going on? And he said, well, funny enough, we are thinking about, or we are going to be building a Roman villa. He said it's probably going to last, this project, for about 6 months. They're looking for a team of about 5 people. It's going to be filmed for Discovery Channel. Are you keen? And I'm just like, all right. I was quite young at the time, and you know, and it sounds
up for anything.
Up for anything. Yeah, that sounds quite a good laugh actually. Building a Roman villa, why not? So yeah, I came to the farm, and I think I saw the best part of it. And I started in like a lovely sort of spring, March, April. Everything's starting to green up. It all looked lovely here, and they weren't quite ready to start the building. So I remember doing some. A bit of thatching on the roundhouses and just get to know it, and then true, I would say, I don't know, Butser fashion or Jonathan fashion, that I remember one day there was about 50 school children turning up, and he was like, "You're teaching today, so off you go with them." And I hadn't got a clue. I didn't know how to teach. I remember trying to get through the day, but it was that was interesting. But then finally we started to construct this Roman villa, and it was a massive project. It really, this 6 months, it wasn't
five or six people for 6 months was just not.
It just wasn't going to happen at all. 6 months went on to a year, and went on to about 18 months before we completed it or got it watertight to where we wanted it. And it was an amazing experience, really. It really was. It was just made some really good friends, really got involved. And it was sad when the project came to an end after, let's say 18 months being here. But I was fortunate enough for Christine, who was running the site at the time, to approach me and say, do you want to stay on full time and use my skills? Because there was unfortunately, as we know, that Peter Reynolds passed away in 2000, didn't he? So there was certainly a lot of archaeologists and people doing, running the education team. That's what everybody needs. But I think it was recognised that he needed somebody to kind of look after the site and get on with the maintenance and stuff, and that's where I came in. There were 150 Soe sheep just running wild everywhere. There were holes in the roof. There was this, that, and everything else, So it was, I don't know. There needs to be a lot of maintenance, basically.
That's all about us and how we started. But Butser's been here a long time. Butser Ancient Farm has been here a long time before either of us. So
and you've been here half his life.
So let's go right back to the beginning. Yeah. So we know that the first site on the top of Butser Hill, Little Butser, on that spur.
Funny enough, I was just a few days ago. Went over there actually. You can just see some of the earthworks.
Yes.
There's still evidence there that we used to be there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's up on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
So there's no vehicular access. Everything would have had to have been carried up.
Yeah,
really difficult. So it started in 1972.
Yeah.
But Rachel has found that actually the Council for British Archaeology were already thinking about a practical place for experimental archaeology in this country before that, in the late 1950s.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So there was that thought was already going around. I think Peter was definitely the instigator of Butser Ancient Farm. It was definitely his baby, and he was appointed by the Council of British Archaeology to be the manager and the director of Butser Ancient Farm, and really kick-started it.
Do you know what Peter Reynolds' background was at the time?
He was a teacher. His degree was in classics, and I believe it was from Dublin University. And he was teaching in a grammar school, and he'd already started doing some kind of construction work in that area, perhaps at the school where he was. And so he was already developing his thoughts and ideas about buildings. Buildings were his big thing, and then of course farming.
I never really met Peter. A couple of times just previously, just say hello and all that sort of stuff. But you met him, you worked with him as well for a couple of years. So what was he like?
He was quite a presence. He could hold an audience really well. That was his gift. He could talk to any group of people. I heard him talk to adults, I heard him talk to children, I heard him talk to university students. I heard him talk to us just in the Octagon as staff. He was really interesting and always had really thoughtful things to make you think about. I think by the time I got to work here, he was being pulled in all different ways, and so he wasn't here a lot because he was too busy. He had to earn a living, and he was off doing archaeology in other places. He did a lot of research in Turkey and in Spain as well. So he didn't spend a lot of time here, and when he died, he was actually in Turkey. So he was off doing other work, which meant that the site here was being left to Dave Kirby to manage, and Christine, his partner, so that things could carry on here. He was an avid cigar smoker, so you knew where he was because of the cigar smoke, and he did manage to get one of the goats addicted to the cigar butts, because the goats will eat almost anything, and if Peter dropped his cigar butt on the floor, the goat would be there and would eat it, and became addicted to the cigar butts. Yeah.
So we had to move, or Butser had to move from Queen Elizabeth Country Park over onto private land, just a mile around the corner, if that. I don't quite know why they moved. Do you know why they moved, or?
I think Peter didn't like the way things were going because he wasn't his own boss. So he was part of, if he was part of QE Park, then he was kind of dictated to by the Hampshire County Council.
Yeah.
And if you're running an experimental archaeology site, you need to be able to do your experiments and do what you run it the way you want to get the results. And I'm not sure that the council necessarily saw eye to eye with that.
I think that's always, it's something we still battle now.
Yes,
it's the balance
absolutely.
of public and experimentation as well, and it really is quite hard to kind of keep it on a straight line in a way, you know, because you can go from one side to another. Can't
I
you,
actually
really?
think, although it must have been really, really hard for Peter to up sticks and move the farm from Queen Elizabeth Country Park to be on private land and to be a private self-supporting entity, I actually think that was the best thing that could have happened to the farm. We wouldn't be in the situation we are today if he hadn't done that then.
Yeah. So we moved here, 91, 92.
Yep. I think they put the big house up first, and as you said, I think they used timbers that they'd brought with them from a previous house. They were keeping a very close eye on expenses. And then I remember when I moved here, when I came to start work, the big house was here, and the 2 Glastonburys were here and built. There were lots of sheep paddocks, and there was a very big crop field. And then I seem to remember, I don't think it was here when I came for interview, but then the Roman villa outline was picked out with stones on the ground, and the hypercourse was built. And it was just the hypercourse system. But the hypercourse system worked really well. I remember using it to demonstrate to groups how well it worked. It did work really well, but I don't think there were any other buildings. Somebody talked about something called Smoky Hollow, which I think was a building that they moved from the other site.
Right, okay.
And I think it was a log cabin with a turf roof. And I think that was out there, but by the time I started, that had already gone. And there was talk about rebuilding it, but that never actually happened. But I think that might have been a building they used for metalworking. And then there was all the change with this house being rethatched, the Roman villa being built, lots of people around, way more than we'd had before, which was really nice. And then that strange film that was shot here.
The Gladiatress.
In November, I think it was very, very cold.
I remember it was cold.
We had
muddy.
to fill hot water bottles up for some of the actors because they weren't wearing an awful lot of clothing. And
it was a
very
cold winter, wasn't it? Yeah.
Gladiatress was a film. It got the actors and actresses from Smack the Pony.
The comedy
program.
series, the comedy program,
so there were quite a number of named, known celebrities.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. It was, it was following an Iron Age girl, wasn't it? Or going up against a Roman army, maybe.
I remember the Roman fellow who was walking around with an octopus.
Yeah, there was a random octopus, wasn't there, as well? I remember that. I remember the kind of bodies of kind of like half-eaten, sort of fleshy sort of bodies hanging in cages as you walk into the... in fact, we nicked one. It was... remember that one. And it was a bit...
It's the first time I'd ever done any filming with that kind of group. I know Peter had done a lot of filming with for documentaries and discussion and like time team type things. That's different. That's not dressing up. And this was completely different. And it was a completely alien sort of. I don't know that anything like that had happened here.
No, the site was completely transformed, wasn't it? Really, it was. It was just it was nuts. It was crazy. So,
but. You have to think actually all these things have a purpose, and the money from that filming would have helped to develop the farm. And in some cases, like when we filmed for the Rotten Roman.
Oh, the Horrible Histories.
The Horrible Histories program film. Actually, that then meant that so many more people knew about the farm. So it just raises the bar
the profile.
a bit.
Yeah. We kind of, I suppose, brought our vision to the farm when we sort of took on the run in 2007. And for me personally, it was, I wanted it to be more accessible to the public. I haven't got a huge background in archaeology, but what I know, I don't see the point in learning and discovering something if you're not going to get it out
I think we both felt like that.
Yeah, we did,
I think it's really important. As an educationalist, I feel like that. What's the point in finding something out and not passing it on?
And then just holding it in, as you know, that's my information and stuff like that. So we kind of went from a farm that was, okay, open during the week for schools, but pretty much closed most weekends. I think we had these little odd
It was the last weekend of the month
or something like that. And we went from 7 days a week, didn't we?
Yes.
We just completely opened up the site. We started putting on some smaller events. We started getting people down here all the time. Schools started to ramp up, so we knew we could actually. We've got a big enough site. It's a big site, and we can actually fit more school children in per day to learn, not just within the Iron Age. We've now got the Roman Villa as well.
The Roman Villa was fantastic, actually, to take children into. And even since then, we have expanded our timeline, because the curriculum for schools, for primary schools, where most of our school visits come from, has changed in the last, 10 years. With before that, Iron Age wasn't even on the curriculum.
No, I think life started with the Romans.
Started with the Romans, and the only way we could get back round that was to say, you need to know what was here before the Romans came, so you can understand how they changed things. Well, actually, Michael Gove changed the curriculum in our favour to start way back in the Stone Age. Let's
start at the beginning. Let's start, when man started farming.
Well, and that's what's on the curriculum now. So teachers want that, and if we want to keep our schools coming in, and we recognise that the school visits are what enables the site to stay as a viable organisation. Go back to that.
Which is
and
good.
We have lots of schools that come and want to know about the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And now we've got Mesolithic first, we've got Neolithic, we've got our new Bronze Age area, we've got our wonderful Iron Age enclosure, we've got our Roman Villa, which has been reinterpreted in the last 2 or 3 years. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And now we've got a Saxon area as well.
Yeah. Opening up to the public as well, I wanted to get on with the site and make it something quite we're proud of. So we started planting, we started to make the pathways more accessible for people to move around. We built a visitor centre, so we can go on the side where we can have a little gift shop, a little coffee shop. We've got toilets, we've got heat now, we've got a biomass boiler that keeps us with all hot running water, which was the first time.
Which means you've got an office that you can actually work in, whereas we were in a shed before.
I remember actually, was there 4 of us in the shed?
There were 4 of us in our shed, the shed that we now use as a feed shed for the animals. But in fact, there were 4 of us squashed in there.
And it was so cold that we used to put the heater in the printer to thaw the ink out.
Yes, we had to, because the printer would freeze. And then you'd put it under the table so that we had warm feet. And you'd shout at people if they left the door open. Yeah. Because it was really cold.
One person wanted to get out of the office. Everybody had to stand up, move out, let that person at the back there get out. Yes. And then we all get back in again. So.
Because you had to go in order.
Yeah. Also, you've got a basket.
I've got a basket with
food.
No, it's not food, I'm afraid. These aren't people's memories. So there are some people around who've been around for 20, 30 years, and they've got some memories.
Yourself.
I haven't put my memory in. And so they've jotted some things down so that we can just hear. I haven't looked at any of them.
So. Oh, you haven't? No?
No.
Okay, so I've got to read one out? Okay.
Yes.
All right, okay. As an undergrad student, I volunteered at Butser Ancient Farm to partake in some experimental archaeology. The month we spent working at Butser in this glorious sun was blissful, and I treasure the memories and people I met along the way. Little did I know it would spark a lifelong obsession with the site. I just can't keep away. Lewis Beck.
The pulling down of the octagon, our old staff offices, ready for the new build of the Janus Centre. The luxury of having hot running water, lights and toilets which didn't freeze overnight. Watching Simon use his pickup truck to pull down the octagon was an historic moment, especially as, despite the fact that it looked like it'd been falling down for a year, it didn't really want to go and took a lot of pulling. I don't know who put that one in.
You don't?
That was Gwen, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. I was, it was the octagon, the octagon shape was our little staff room and whatnot, wasn't it?
It had everything.
Had everything, rats and all. And it looked like the thing was going to fall down most of the time, and we had to clear it one day. We cleared it all out, and the thing wouldn't fall down. And so I ended up tying a rope around the whole thing and pulling it over tying it back in the truck and then just putting my
But
foot
you
down.
looked at it and you thought it would go down really easily.
Oh, that's nuts. Right, what have we got? My husband and I became volunteers on the farm. My speciality was spinning, weaving and natural dyeing, most of which I learnt from Anne and my husband's fire in the Roman pottery kiln. I was at the farm the day my son was due, and Peter Reynolds was told me to sit and not move in the event our son was born a few days later.
Yes.
So they almost built, but their son was almost born on the farm. But after my son was born, as a toddler, he came up to the farm and ran around there in his waterproofs and wellies and thoroughly enjoyed it. My parents built and ran the herb garden. So yeah, I do remember there was a big herb garden, wasn't there?
There was a very big herb garden. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's where we've built the Janus Centre.
No,
but
no.
it was a really, really good herb garden.
I do remember that, yeah. And they say the remains are still on the old site as well, as far as I know. I was the first person in modern times in the UK to weave a 3 salvage piece of cloth using hand-spun wool, using the warp-weighted loom, and I have a Shetland lace shawl I spun and knitted from wool from the farm. Ah.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
I was a volunteer there in my teenage years. I was at Bedale School in Petersfield and my mother was a teacher in Portsmouth, so I had much longer holidays than her. I spent my extra time at Butser with Peter Reynolds, Copper, Dave and Ed. I have so many memories: digging Roman villa foundations, making haystacks, herding sheep, chasing escaped pigs around, building roundhouses and fences, so much more to list. The experience shaped my whole life and how I see the world. I hold all my memories very dear and feel so privileged to have been part of such a special place.
Yeah, lovely, yeah.
I visited about 5 years ago and was amazed at how much it had grown. It is fantastic how much work and effort has gone in since I was there. I can't believe it's been 50 years in the making. I so wish I had some photographs from my time there.
Yeah.
And that was somebody called Ches Grimble, who I don't know, but obviously he was a very early volunteer.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Nothing really changes. We still have to chase our pigs around.
Yes, yep.
Build wattle fences and things like that, wasn't it? So. In the 1970s, I remember visiting the Butser site as a child, and there was just one big roundhouse. We cooked oat cakes.
Yes, oat cakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Over the fire and ate them warm. It's stuck in my mind ever since, and I still love a good open fire. I think that's from Catherine in the office as well.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
nice.
It wouldn't be appropriate to name anyone this applies to, but Butser has always been a magical place with the ability to heal and help damaged people. Numerous people of all ages have got involved at Butser with various problems from bereavement to socialisation issues, and over time have found peace and a new love of life through experiencing the unique magic of Butser.
That's nice.
That's still going on. We've still got, and now it's an official thing, isn't it? It's all talked about well-being, but this was before anybody even thought about well-being. So yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah. You got another one?
I've got another one. I first visited the farm as a 5-year-old in the 1970s. It left such a lasting, a great impression on me that for my entire childhood I wanted to be an archaeologist and have had a passion for history ever since. At our visits to the farm in the 1970s, I remember cooking cake-like things over an open fire.
Are these oat cakes again?
I think they might be.
Yeah.
I wish I had followed my dreams to be an archaeologist. I now follow those dreams in my hobbies as a historical reenactor.
Brilliant. So this is actually something that I overheard was one of my favourite stories. Concerns Dr. Hannah Fluck, who came to a school trip on Butser. As I understand, she's moved on now, but I think she was the Hampshire archaeologist.
She was, and she also used to bring the Lithic Society here. She was one of the organisers for the Lithic Society in the country.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, it says here, she visited Butser when she was young and went home that evening and announced to her parents that she's going to become an archaeologist when she grew up, and she certainly is.
She now works for Historic England, I believe.
Is she really? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So the official office used to be at Nexus House.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the post was delivered. However, once we got a telephone line, electricity and some very slow internet, Most of the admin work was carried out from a shed, positioned pretty much where the boardwalk entrance to the shop is. This shed has since become the feed shed. There used to be 4 of us squashed in, and if one person needed to get out, everyone else had to move
That's
too.
what I was saying earlier, yeah.
It would get so cold overnight that we had to turn the little fan heater on to defrost the printer before it would work. All the school's bookings were confirmed by fax machine. It was certainly paper saving once we changed to a digital system.
Yeah.
So yes, it was interesting working in the shed. It was very cosy.
It was cosy.
Very cosy.
It was cosy.
I first encountered Butser in either 1978 or 79 when I was taken on a school trip to Butser when it was at Queen Elizabeth Country Park. And we were given a talk about the farm by this softly spoken but oh so engaging speaker that I later found out was Dr. Peter Reynolds. The memory of this magical place stayed with me for years until 20 years later I found Butser again and became a part of the team.
Oh, brilliant.
That was Fergus.
That's Fergus, yeah.
Last one.
Last one, should I do that one?
Yeah.
Just before Beltane, one year, a visitor was gazing at the 30-foot high Wicker Man figure as the finishing touches were made and said in all seriousness, "Do you build a new one every year?" Yes, we do. Yeah. I tell you what, that really is nice to hear those comments. Here's to 50 years and here's to 50 more.
I think so. Let's hope I would like to think the farm will still be here in 50 years' time.
It will be, yeah.